The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly before the Ziraxian exploration vessel, Nebula Seeker, Captain Zorax, a tall, slender being with iridescent scales and 4 arms, stood at the helm, his compound eyes scanning the holographic displays surrounding him. The ship had been on a routine survey mission of the outer reaches of the Andromeda Galaxy when they stumbled upon an anomaly, a small blue-green planet teeming with life in a system they had previously overlooked. "Sensors indicate a Class M planet, Captain," reported Science Officer Vexera, her tentacles undulating with excitement. "Atmosphere composition suggests the possibility of complex life forms." Zorax's antenna twitched with interest. "Fascinating. Any signs of civilization?" "Primitive at best, Captain," Vexera replied, her voice tinged with dismissal. "We're detecting rudimentary structures and pollutants in the atmosphere, but nothing to suggest advanced technology or spacefaring capabilities." The captain's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. The Ziraxians prided themselves on being one of the most technologically advanced species in the known universe. They had mastered faster-than-light travel, colonized dozens of worlds, and even manipulated the fabric of space-time itself. The prospect of encountering a new, albeit primitive, species was intriguing. "Prepare a landing party," Zorax ordered. "We'll observe these creatures from a safe distance and determine if they're worth studying further." As the Nebula Seeker descended through the planet's atmosphere, the crew marveled at the diverse landscapes below. Vast oceans, sprawling forests, towering mountains, and sprawling deserts painted a picture of a world rich in resources and biodiversity. The ship touched down in a clearing near the edge of a dense forest, its cloaking technology rendering it invisible to the primitive inhabitants. Zorax led a small team of researchers out onto the planet's surface, their environmental suits protecting them from potential contaminants. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the Ziraxians were struck by the cacophony of sounds and the riot of colors surrounding them. Creatures of all shapes and sizes scurried through the underbrush or soared overhead, each adapted perfectly to its niche in this complex ecosystem. Suddenly, Vexera's handheld scanner began beeping urgently. "Captain, I'm detecting a concentration of the planet's dominant species nearby. They appear to be gathered in some sort of settlement." Cautiously, the Ziraxians made their way towards the edge of the forest. As they peered out from behind the foliage, they saw a sight that both fascinated and perplexed them: a small human village nestled in a valley below. The structures were indeed primitive by Ziraxian standards, simple dwellings made of wood and stone. The inhabitants, bipedal creatures with soft, furless skin and only 2 arms, bustled about their daily lives, seemingly oblivious to the advanced beings observing them from afar. "How quaint," remarked Zorax, his voice a mixture of curiosity and condescension. "They haven't even mastered basic energy manipulation. I doubt they've even split the atom yet." As the Ziraxians watched, they saw the humans engaging in various activities, tending to crops, constructing new buildings, and interacting with domesticated animals. It all seemed so inefficient and labor-intensive compared to the automated processes the aliens were accustomed to. "Should we make contact, Captain?" asked Vexera, her tentacles quivering with anticipation. Zorax considered the question carefully. The Ziraxian protocol for first contact was clear. Only engage with species that had achieved a certain level of technological advancement. These humans, with their primitive tools and lack of apparent scientific understanding, clearly fell short of that threshold. Negative, Zorax decided. They're not ready for interstellar relations. We'll observe for now and report back to the High Council. Perhaps in a few thousand years, they'll have advanced enough to warrant proper contact. As the Ziraxians turned to head back to their ship, satisfied with their initial observations, they failed to notice a young human child watching them from behind a nearby tree, eyes wide with wonder and curiosity. Little did the aliens know, this chance encounter would set in motion a series of events that would challenge everything they thought they knew about this primitive species and forced them to reconsider their place in the cosmos. The human perspective. In the quaint village of Millbrook, nestled in the lush valley below the alien observers, life continued as it had for generations. The villagers went about their daily routines, unaware of the advanced beings watching them from the forest's edge. However, one young boy's life was about to change forever. 10-year-old Tommy Anderson had always been different from the other children in Millbrook. While his peers were content playing in the fields or helping their parents with chores, Tommy's insatiable curiosity drove him to explore the surrounding wilderness, always searching for something new and exciting. On that fateful day, Tommy had ventured further into the forest than ever before, drawn by an inexplicable feeling that something extraordinary awaited him. As he crouched behind a gnarled oak tree, his heart raced with a mixture of fear and excitement at the sight before him. Strange, otherworldly creatures observing his village from afar. Tommy's mind whirled with questions. Who were these beings? Where did they come from? And why were they here? As the aliens turned to leave, Tommy made a split-second decision that would alter the course of human history. He followed them. Carefully and quietly, the young boy trailed the Xeraxians through the dense undergrowth, his small size and knowledge of the forest allowing him to remain undetected. As they approached a clearing, Tommy's jaw dropped in awe at the sight of the Nebula Seeker, its sleek, otherworldly design unlike anything he had ever seen or imagined. Hidden behind a thick bush, Tommy watched as the aliens boarded their ship. Just before the entrance sealed shut, he made another impulsive decision. With a burst of speed, he darted forward and slipped inside the vessel, his heart pounding in his chest. Inside the Nebula Seeker, Tommy found himself in a world beyond his wildest dreams. Holographic displays flickered with strange symbols, and the air hummed with energy. He crouched behind a large translucent container filled with what looked like glowing liquid, trying to make sense of his surroundings. As the ship lifted off, Tommy felt a strange sensation in his stomach, a mixture of excitement and terror. He was leaving behind everything he knew, embarking on an adventure that no human had ever experienced before. Meanwhile, in the ship's control room, the Xeraxians were engaged in a heated discussion about their observations. These humans are barely more advanced than the other animals on their planet, Vexera argued. They lack even the most basic understanding of quantum mechanics or dimensional manipulation. How could they possibly be considered sentient? Zorax's antenna twitched thoughtfully. And yet, they've managed to create structured societies, cultivate food, and even domesticate other species. There's potential there, even if it's buried beneath layers of primitive behavior. As the debate continued, none of the aliens noticed the small human boy exploring the lower decks of their ship, his eyes wide with wonder as he tried to comprehend the advanced technology surrounding him. Over the next few days, as the Nebula Seeker continued its survey of Earth, Tommy managed to evade detection, surviving on nutrient packs he found in what he assumed was the ship's food storage area. He spent his time observing the aliens, listening to their conversations, and trying to make sense of their technology. Though he couldn't understand their language, Tommy's quick mind began to grasp the basic principles behind some of their simpler devices. He watched in fascination as the aliens manipulated energy fields to move objects, communicated through thought transference, and accessed vast databases of information through neural interfaces. Back on Earth, Tommy's disappearance had thrown Millbrook into a frenzy. Search parties combed the forests, calling out his name, while his parents held on to hope that their curious, adventurous son would return home safely. Little did they know that Tommy was light years away, about to embark on a journey that would bridge the gap between two vastly different civilizations and challenge the Xeraxians' preconceived notions about humanity's potential. As the Nebula Seeker prepared to leave Earth's solar system, Tommy made a critical error. Reaching out to touch a pulsing, blue crystal that had caught his eye, he inadvertently triggered an alarm. Klaxons blared throughout the ship, and the young human found himself face to face with the astonished Xeraxian crew. In that moment of first true contact, two worlds collided. The Xeraxians, with their advanced technology and dismissive attitude towards primitive species, were forced to confront the reality of a human child who had managed to sneak aboard their vessel and survive undetected for days. Tommy, terrified but still filled with curiosity, stood his ground. With trembling hands, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small object, a simple LED flashlight he had brought from home. Clicking it on, he held it up to the aliens, a peace offering and a demonstration that humans, too, understood the power of technology, no matter how rudimentary it might seem in comparison. The simple act of illumination would become the spark that ignited a new era of understanding between humans and Xeraxians, forcing both species to reevaluate their place in the universe and the true meaning of intelligence and advancement. Clash of cultures. The tension aboard the Nebula Seeker was palpable as Captain Zorax and his crew stared in disbelief at the small human child standing before them. Tommy, still holding his flashlight, met their gaze with a mixture of fear and determination. "Impossible," Vexera whispered, her tentacles writhing in agitation. "How did this primitive creature manage to infiltrate our advanced vessel?" Zorax stepped forward, his compound eyes studying Tommy intently. "More importantly, how has it survived aboard our ship for so long without detection?" The captain's voice was a mix of annoyance and grudging respect. Tommy, unable to understand their words but sensing the aliens' confusion, decided to take a chance. He pointed to himself and said clearly, "Tommy, my name is Tommy." The Xeraxians' universal translators, designed to decipher any language based on contextual and tonal cues, quickly adapted to English. Zorax's antenna twitched in surprise as he realized he could now understand the human child. "Tommy," the captain repeated, the unfamiliar name feeling strange in his mouth. "I am Captain Zorax of the Xeraxian Exploration Fleet. How did you come to be on our ship?" Tommy, emboldened by the aliens' ability to communicate, launched into an excited explanation of how he had followed them from the forest and snuck aboard. As he spoke, the Xeraxians listened with increasing amazement. This primitive being was displaying a level of intelligence and adaptability they had not expected. Over the next few days, as the Nebula Seeker remained in Earth's orbit, Tommy became the subject of intense study and debate among the Xeraxian crew. They were fascinated by his quick grasp of basic scientific concepts and his insatiable curiosity about their technology. Tommy, for his part, was eager to learn. He absorbed information at an astonishing rate, asking questions that sometimes even stumped the Xeraxian scientists. His unique perspective often led to innovative solutions to problems the aliens had been struggling with. However, not all of the Xeraxians were pleased with Tommy's presence. Some, like Science Officer Vexera, saw him as a potential threat, a contaminant that could jeopardize their mission and their way of life. "We should return this creature to its planet immediately," Vexera argued during a heated crew meeting. "Its presence here violates all our protocols for dealing with primitive species." Zorax, who had grown fond of the human child, disagreed. "This Tommy has shown us that our initial assessment of human potential was flawed. We have much to learn from each other." As the debate raged on, Tommy was making discoveries of his own. He stumbled upon the ship's historical database and was awestruck by the vast repository of knowledge about the universe and its many inhabitants. But as he delved deeper, he also found unsettling information about the Xeraxians' past encounters with other species, encounters that often ended in subjugation or exploitation. Realizing the potential threat to Earth, Tommy knew he had to act. Using the skills he had learned from observing the Xeraxians, he managed to access the ship's communication system. With trembling fingers, he composed a message to Earth, warning them of the alien presence and the need to prepare. Just as he was about to transmit the message, alarms blared throughout the ship. Tommy's unauthorized access had been detected, and now he found himself at the center of a crisis that threatened to escalate into an interstellar incident. As Xeraxian security officers converged on his location, Tommy stood his ground, clutching the console that held Earth's fate in its circuits. The clash between human determination and Xeraxian technological superiority was about to reach its climax, with the future of both species hanging in the balance. Unexpected allies. As the Xeraxian security officers closed in on Tommy, the young human's mind raced. He knew he couldn't outrun or overpower these advanced beings, but perhaps he could outsmart them. In a flash of inspiration, Tommy remembered a trick he had observed earlier: the Xeraxians' use of energy fields to manipulate objects. With seconds to spare, Tommy focused intensely on the console before him, imagining an invisible barrier surrounding him. To everyone's shock, including Tommy's, a shimmering force field sprang to life, enveloping the boy and the communication terminal. Captain Zorax burst into the room, his compound eyes widening at the sight. "By the cosmic winds," he exclaimed, "the human has accessed our psionic interface." The security team halted, unsure how to proceed. They had never encountered a primitive species capable of manipulating Xeraxian technology in this way. Tommy, emboldened by his unexpected success, stood tall within his protective bubble. "Please," he said, his voice steady despite his racing heart, "I need you to listen to me. I've seen your historical records. I know what your people have done to other species you've encountered. I can't let that happen to Earth." Zorax's antenna drooped slightly, a sign of shame in Xeraxian body language. "You've misunderstood, Tommy. Those records, they're from a darker time in our history. We've evolved beyond those practices." Vexera, who had followed the captain into the room, interjected, "Evolved? Captain, surely you're not suggesting that we owe this child any explanation. He's breached our most secure systems." Tommy, sensing the divide among the Xeraxians, pressed his advantage. "If you've really changed, prove it. Work with us, not against us. Humans may not have your technology, but we have other strengths. We're creative, adaptable, and we never give up. We could be allies, not subjects." A tense silence fell over the room. The Xeraxians exchanged glances, a silent debate raging between them. Finally, Zorax stepped forward, his posture one of decision. "Lower the force field, Tommy," he said gently. "You have my word as a Xeraxian captain that no harm will come to you or your planet. I believe it's time we reevaluated our first contact protocols." Hesitantly, Tommy relaxed his concentration, and the shimmering barrier faded away. As it did, something extraordinary happened. The ship's systems, which had been in lockdown due to Tommy's actions, suddenly sprang to life with renewed energy. Vexera rushed to a nearby console, her tentacles flying over the holographic display. "Impossible," she muttered. "The human's interaction with our psionic interface has unlocked a new level of system integration. Our efficiency has increased by 200%. Zorax turned to Tommy, his compound eyes shimmering with what the boy recognized as the alien equivalent of a smile. "It seems, young human, that you have much more to teach us than a new understanding." The revelation of Tommy's unexpected ability to interface with Xeraxian technology sent shockwaves through the Nebula Seeker. What had begun as a simple observation mission had evolved into a groundbreaking first contact scenario, challenging everything the Xeraxians thought they knew about humanity and their place in the cosmos. Captain Zorax, recognizing the historical significance of the moment, made a bold decision. "Prepare for planetfall," he announced to his stunned crew. "It's time we properly introduced ourselves to the humans." As the Nebula Seeker descended through Earth's atmosphere, Tommy's heart raced with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. He was about to change the course of human history, and the weight of that responsibility was not lost on him. The ship touched down in a large field on the outskirts of Millbrook, its cloaking device disengaged for the first time since arriving on Earth. The sudden appearance of the massive alien vessel sent the small town into a frenzy of panic and wonder. As the dust settled, a hatch opened in the side of the ship. Tommy emerged first, flanked by Captain Zorax and Vexera. The sight of the young boy alongside the alien beings caused a collective gasp from the gathering crowd of townspeople. "Mom! Dad!" Tommy called out, spotting his parents in the crowd. Tears of joy and relief streamed down their faces as they rushed forward, only to halt uncertainly at the sight of the imposing aliens. Captain Zorax stepped forward, his translator working to convert his complex language into English. "People of Earth," he began, his voice resonating across the field, "we come in peace. Your young one, Tommy, has shown us the true potential of humanity. We wish to open a dialogue and explore the possibility of an alliance between our species." The crowd murmured in a mix of fear and awe. Tommy's father, mustering his courage, spoke up. "What do you want from us? We're just simple folk. We don't have advanced technology or weapons." Tommy, sensing the tension, stepped between the humans and Zoraxians. "It's okay, Dad," he said with a reassuring smile. "They're not here to hurt us. They're here to learn from us, just like we can learn from them." Over the next few hours, as government officials and scientists began to arrive, Tommy acted as a bridge between the two species. He explained to his fellow humans the wonders he had seen aboard the Nebula Seeker and helped the Zoraxians understand the unique strengths of humanity, our creativity, our resilience, and our capacity for emotional intelligence. Vexera, who had been the most skeptical of humans, found herself fascinated by the complex social dynamics she observed. Their ability to form deep emotional bonds and work together despite their differences. "It's a kind of strength we hadn't considered," she admitted to Captain Zorax. As the initial shock wore off, the people of Millbrook began to interact more freely with the Zoraxians. Children, their natural curiosity overcoming their fear, peppered the aliens with questions about their home world and their adventures in space. One young girl, emboldened by Tommy's example, approached Vexera and offered her a flower. The Zoraxian scientist, touched by the simple gesture, used her advanced knowledge of biology to make the flower glow with bioluminescence, much to the delight of the human child. As night fell, the field had transformed into a hub of cultural exchange. Humans shared their music, art, and food with the Zoraxians, while the aliens demonstrated some of their less advanced technologies, careful not to overwhelm their new friends. Captain Zorax pulled Tommy aside, his compound eyes shimmering with emotion. "You've taught us a valuable lesson, young one," he said. "True advancement isn't just about technology. It's about understanding, empathy, and the willingness to see the potential in others." Tommy beamed with pride, but a hint of sadness crept into his voice. "Does this mean you'll be leaving soon?" The captain's antenna twitched in amusement. "On the contrary, Tommy, this is just the beginning. With your help, we hope to establish a permanent cultural exchange program between our worlds. There is so much we can learn from each other." As the stars twinkled overhead, humans and Zoraxians alike looked to the sky with a new sense of wonder and possibility. The universe suddenly seemed a little less vast and a lot more friendly. In the days and weeks that followed, news of the alien contact spread across the globe. World leaders convened to discuss the implications of this new alliance. Scientists eagerly collaborated with their Zoraxian counterparts, and a new era of human advancement began. Tommy, hailed as a hero and a pioneer, found himself at the center of it all. But despite the accolades and attention, he never forgot the simple curiosity that had led him into the forest that fateful day. He knew that the greatest adventure of all, the exploration of the unknown, was just beginning. As the Nebula Seeker prepared for its return journey to the Zoraxian homeworld, this time with a delegation of human representatives on board, Captain Zorax reflected on how much had changed in such a short time. They had come to Earth expecting to find primitive beings, but instead discovered partners, teachers, and friends. The captain made a mental note to recommend a complete overhaul of the Zoraxian first contact protocols. After all, he mused, you never know what wonders you might find on a small blue planet in an overlooked corner of the galaxy. Ripples across the stars. As news of the unprecedented alliance between humans and Xeraxians spread across the cosmos, it sent shockwaves through the galactic community. Many advanced civilizations that had previously dismissed Earth as an insignificant backwater world now found themselves reassessing their stance. The Nebula Seeker, now carrying a mixed crew of Xeraxians and human representatives, including Tommy and a select group of Earth's brightest minds, embarked on a journey to the heart of Xeraxian space. Their mission was to formally present the newly forged alliance to the Xeraxian High Council and explore the possibilities of further cooperation. During the voyage, the human crew members marveled at the wonders of faster-than-light travel and the breathtaking vistas of distant star systems. Tommy, acting as a cultural liaison, helped bridge the gap between the two species, facilitating understanding and fostering friendships. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a renowned astrophysicist who had joined the mission, worked closely with Vexera on unraveling the mysteries of dark matter. Their collaboration led to breakthroughs that neither species could have achieved alone, showcasing the power of their combined intellects. Meanwhile, Captain Zorax found himself increasingly impressed by the humans' adaptability and innovative thinking. When the ship's quantum navigation system faltered while passing through a particularly turbulent region of space, it was a human engineer, Raj Patel, who proposed a novel solution inspired by Earth's ancient maritime navigation techniques. As they approached the Xeraxian homeworld, Kyrax's Prime, tensions began to mount. Not all members of Xeraxian society were as open to change as Captain Zorax and his crew. Conservative factions within the High Council viewed the alliance with suspicion, fearing that it might disrupt the established galactic order. Upon landing, the human delegation was greeted with a mixture of curiosity and thinly veiled hostility. The streets of the Xeraxian capital were lined with beings of all shapes and sizes, some cheering, others watching in silent judgment. The High Council chamber was a marvel of alien architecture, with soaring crystalline spires and holographic displays that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Tommy, standing beside Captain Zorax, felt a sense of awe and trepidation as they prepared to address the assembled counselors. High Counselor Zix, a venerable Xeraxian with shimmering golden scales, spoke first. Captain Zorax, you stand accused of violating our most sacred protocols regarding primitive species. How do you justify your actions? Zorax stepped forward, his posture confident. Esteemed counselors, I stand before you not to make excuses, but to open your eyes to a new possibility. The humans may lack our technological advancement, but they possess qualities that we would do well to emulate: creativity, emotional intelligence, and an indomitable spirit. Murmurs rippled through the chamber as Zorax recounted the events that had led to this moment. When he finished, Tommy was invited to address the council. The young human, his voice unwavering, spoke of the potential for mutual growth and understanding. He shared stories of human resilience in the face of adversity and our capacity for rapid advancement when presented with new challenges. As Tommy spoke, something extraordinary began to happen. The psionic energy that permeated Xeraxian technology started to resonate with his words, causing the holographic displays in the chamber to come alive with images of human history, culture, and achievements. The counselors watched in amazement as scenes of Earth's natural beauty, artistic masterpieces, and scientific discoveries played out before them. They saw humans overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds, from the Wright brothers' first flight to the moon landing, from the eradication of deadly diseases to the preservation of endangered species. High Counselor Zix, visibly moved by the display, raised a hand for silence. In all my cycles, I have never witnessed such a phenomenon. It seems the universe itself is telling us that this alliance is meant to be. The council chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices, some in support, others in protest. But the tide had turned. The undeniable potential of human Xeraxian cooperation could no longer be ignored. As the debate raged on, Tommy turned to Captain Zorax with a smile. I think this is the beginning of something amazing, he said. Zorax's antenna twitched in agreement. Indeed, young Tommy. Together, we may yet unlock secrets of the cosmos that neither of our species could have imagined alone. As the Xeraxian High Council deliberated, the seeds of a new galactic order were being sown, one based on mutual respect, cooperation, and the recognition that true strength lies not in technological superiority, but in the diversity of thought and experience that each species brings to the cosmic table. The story of humanity's entrance onto the galactic stage was far from over, but one thing was certain: the universe would never be the same again. A cosmic dawn. In the years that followed the historic meeting with the Xeraxian High Council, the alliance between humans and Xeraxians flourished beyond anyone's wildest expectations. The exchange of knowledge and culture between the two species catalyzed an unprecedented era of growth and discovery for both civilizations. On Earth, the influx of advanced Xeraxian technology led to rapid advancements in clean energy, medicine, and space exploration. Cities were transformed with eco-friendly anti-gravity transportation systems, and the first human colonies on Mars and Europa were established with Xeraxian assistance. In return, humans introduced the Xeraxians to new forms of art, music, and philosophy. The concept of individual expression and creativity, once foreign to the highly structured Xeraxian society, began to take root. Xeraxian scientists, inspired by human out-of-the-box thinking, made groundbreaking discoveries in quantum mechanics and dimensional physics. Tommy, now a young adult, had become a key figure in interstellar diplomacy. His unique ability to bridge the gap between human intuition and Xeraxian logic made him an invaluable asset in negotiating with other alien species. He traveled across the galaxy, sharing the story of Earth's unlikely rise from a primitive world to a respected member of the galactic community. One day, while addressing a conference of various alien species on a neutral space station, Tommy received an urgent message from Captain Zorax, who had been promoted to Admiral of the Xeraxian fleet. "Tommy, we've detected an anomaly at the edge of the known universe." Zorax's holographic image flickered with excitement. "Our scientists believe it could be a gateway to another dimension. We need your help to assemble a joint expedition." Without hesitation, Tommy agreed. Within weeks, a crew of the brightest minds from Earth, Xeraxis Prime, and several other allied worlds was assembled. The expedition ship, fittingly named Cosmic Dawn, was a marvel of collaborative engineering, combining the best technologies and innovations from multiple species. As the Cosmic Dawn approached the anomaly, the crew was filled with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. The swirling vortex of energy before them defied all known laws of physics. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, now a leading expert in cross-species astrophysics, worked furiously at her console. "The energy readings are off the charts," she reported. "It's unlike anything we've ever encountered." Vexera, who had become one of the staunchest advocates for human-Xeraxian cooperation, added, "Our xionic sensors are detecting something on the other side. It feels alive." Tommy, standing on the bridge alongside Admiral Zorax, felt a familiar tingle, the same sensation he had experienced years ago when he first interfaced with Xeraxian technology. Acting on instinct, he stepped forward and placed his hand on the ship's central control panel. To everyone's astonishment, the ship's systems began to resonate with the anomaly. The vortex stabilized, and a clear path emerged through the swirling energy. "It's inviting us in," Tommy said, his voice filled with wonder. Admiral Zorax turned to the crew, his compound eyes shimmering with emotion. "My friends, we stand on the brink of the greatest discovery in the history of our species, perhaps in the history of the universe itself. Whatever lies beyond that portal, we will face it together, as allies, as friends, as a united front representing the best of what our civilizations have to offer." As the Cosmic Dawn slowly entered the portal, Tommy reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. From a curious boy sneaking aboard an alien ship to a key player in humanity's cosmic destiny, his life had been an extraordinary adventure. But he knew that the greatest adventure was yet to come. As the ship was enveloped by the shimmering energy of the portal, Tommy felt not fear, but an overwhelming sense of hope and excitement for the future. In that moment, as they crossed the threshold into the unknown, the crew of the Cosmic Dawn represented more than just their individual species. They were the embodiment of a universal truth that the greatest achievements come not from technological superiority or individual brilliance, but from the combined strength of diverse minds working together towards a common goal. As the portal closed behind them, the Cosmic Dawn ventured forth into a new realm of existence, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of countless beings across the galaxy. The next chapter in the cosmic story of humanity and their alien allies was about to unfold, promising wonders beyond imagination and challenges that would test the very limits of their newfound unity. The universe, vast and mysterious as it was, had never seemed so full of possibility. For in the end, it was not advanced technology or ancient knowledge that had brought them to this point. It was the simple, powerful combination of human curiosity and the willingness to see the potential in those once considered primitive. As they journeyed into the unknown, one thing was certain. The cosmic dawn of a new era had begun, and its light would shine across dimensions, illuminating the path for all those who dared to dream, explore, and reach for the stars.